And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Wednesday, September 18th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here on a Wednesday morning. We're glad to have you. And each Wednesday, we're very happy to be on the air for Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. Bob McDonald is with us this morning, and he's President, Chief Executive Officer. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to hear your voice.
Sorry if I was talking over you as you were coming on the air, but I didn't hear MJ's lead in to you because I was too busy talking to your upcoming guest.
Yeah, some people, several of my regulars, either advertisers or guests, will say from time to time, if people knew what we talked about when we're off the air. But it was all good this morning.
We just need to be careful of what we say in case MJ lights up that mic before we know it.
Well, what's happening at Cedar Stone? What's happening with you?
Well, we're very busy. We had our monthly board of directors meeting yesterday, and we meet once a month on the third Tuesday of each month. We've been doing that for over 20 years now, Coleman, and we had a really fine, productive meeting. Chairman Bay called us to order, and we had a great meeting. Talked about where we've been in the previous month and what our plans are for as we wrap up this month. And this is the time of year coming when we start doing our planning for the next year. So we're well underway with that whole process, and looking forward to taking a peek into 2025. And I think as we do that, it really starts today because, as you know, this week the Fed meets, and there's expectations for rates to drop. And Coleman, I tell you, it's interesting. I was listening to an economist yesterday, and she was saying that she was saying that there's no need to drop rates. But then we have other economists who think that rates need to drop as much as 0.75 of a point. So we're all over the board, but I do think a rate drop of at least 0.25% would be in order and would be a good start as we trying to pick up the economy a bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting here wondering if they don't drop that at all, and people have been expecting that for 6 months, it might paint a different picture. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, it might, and you and I talked so many times about rates, and it's as much a psychological impact as it is an economic impact when you start talking about raising rates or dropping rates, especially by small amounts, such as 0.25 point. So I do think there's heavy expectation for there to be a rate drop. I don't see how they cannot. The stock market already has that built in, has for some time, and you're starting to see long-term rates come down with that expectation. So,
well, let me ask you this: you had your meeting, and is your plan for next year? And do you, most people anticipating a continuation of where we are? I mean, right now the loan demand is pretty good. We jokingly, in a way, say you can get your loan at Cedar Stone, which you can, of course. Next year, going to continue to be as good or even better than this year, loan-wise?
Well, it's so hard to say. Again, we're in a very complicated times now with the economy, with rates, with the election coming up here in a couple of months. So there's just a lot of unknowns. Coleman, we did not. This year is our best year in terms of just overall growth, loan growth, deposit growth, total assets of the bank are at an all-time high. We did not expect that this time last year. We were forecasting very moderate growth overall, and we've had just our largest growth as a percent in the history of the bank. And that exceeded 2023, which was previously our largest growth years in our history. So I don't know where we're going to be yet. We're just now getting our thoughts together about what to expect for next year. But I think once we get a better idea about where rates are going between now and year end, will help us at least put together a plan.
All right, we would be remiss if we didn't remind everybody the best way to start your association with Cedar Stone is to get one of those Simply Better free checking accounts.
Yes, sir. We invite your listeners who do not already bank with us and have that Simply free checking account to come by and visit with us at one of our locations. They're all convenient. They're all beautiful. They're all staffed with great people, Coleman, and learn about that account, which is free. If you want to write checks, we provide that. If you want to do your banking electronically, we have our technology is second to none. I hear many people say it's the best online banking program out there. So we encourage you folks to come by and visit and let us talk about that Simply free checking account.
I'll tell you what, if I can do it and do it with ease, and I can, and recommend it, then it's for anybody.
Well, I appreciate that, and I look forward to hearing you and your guest. Mark, you're a fine man. I'll see you today at your lunch.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Bob, thanks for being with us today. Bob McDonald, again, Chief Executive Officer, President, Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. And at 10 after the hour, let me introduce Mark Hinesley from the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. And like I've told you a lot of times, if I came here at 5 o'clock, you'd be sitting here waiting for me. You're always here when I walk in on this particular Wednesday.
This is one that I look forward to, and I don't want to be a second late. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share some thoughts and maybe share a few tidbits of information that people might or might not know about yet.
Well, I've said before, and I would probably say it a lot more times if I have the opportunity, if anybody has their pulse on the city of Mount Juliet, it's Mark Hinesley. It's part of your job, I suppose, but it's almost your second nature to know what's happening in Mount Juliet.
You know, you just keep your eyes open for opportunities, and if you see something that maybe isn't right, try to get it before it turns into something that's just wrong. But it is more difficult these days to keep up on everything that's going on, that's for sure. And, I like to learn something new every day. And most of the time I have to wait till at least the middle of the afternoon before that happens. But this morning I'm coming over here, and either they just started or I have been just totally oblivious to the breakfast crowd at Snow White Barbecue. When did they start doing breakfast? They had a dining room full of people this morning. Oh, my gosh. Congratulations. That's fantastic. The place was all lit up. People were inside, and I thought I was missing something.
If our audience didn't hear MJ on the intercom, she said Monday.
Monday, all right.
So that's 2 days ago.
Well, there you go. That's businesses out there taking a chance, seeing an opportunity. And so,
one of the ladies for Frankie's is the breakfast cooker.
There you go. That's it.
Oh, okay.
According to my wife, Frankie's had the best country ham in Wilson County for a while, I think. So, but no, congratulations. I've never got to see a Grand Prix race car. I've seen a lot of the other ones, but and I wasn't able to get to the race, but I know it was a good week. I heard Mayor Hutto talking about it, and I know Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital is in the thick of that and a big supporter of it. And I missed an opportunity to see a car that Tracy mentioned they had over at the main campus last week, and I just couldn't be in two places at once. But that's one of those things. I'm sure they're not only already working on next year, but probably the year after. And some of us just pop in on Saturday night and think this just magically happened. But a lot of people work real hard, and that certainly put Wilson County on the map last weekend. I loved hearing Rusty the other day talking about everything that's going on at Cumberland University. It's hard to miss all the signs down West Main Street, but congratulations, record enrollment. Mm-hmm. And I heard him say we wanted to put effort on community engagement, get out, share the story about Cumberland with the community. And I think they're doing a magnificent job. And I've already got my seat. I hope some of the listeners will get theirs. It's a free event at Cumberland. I think it's on, I want to say Thursday, October 24th. Don't hold me to that date. But they're having the first female flight director at NASA come and be the speaker. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, that maybe that'll be like being in the control room at Apollo 13 or whatever that movie was. So pretty excited about that. I have about one more minute before we take a break.
But I was just going to say, I'm going to really be surprised if you don't get an email from Dr. Stum.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. Well, it's working because they were the speaker, friends of theirs were speakers at our Rotary Club yesterday, and they're putting their people and their resources where they're what they want to do, and they're actually true to their word and doing some good stuff. So I'm not into the sports scene that much, so I can't really talk that much. But I did hear him talk about how all the athletes went out and supported Sherry's run, and that's one of those where win-win-win, in my opinion. So.
Okay, let's take our break. Mark Hinesley with the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce, my monthly guest here on this particular Wednesday, and we'll talk more after this break. Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day up to 30 days after the sale. There'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1780 Franklin Road. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Working with a couple of accidents out here. Here's what we're seeing. Heavy traffic right now developing on 65 southbound down through Millersville as that traffic gets heavier by the minute. On 24 west at Bell Road, Hickory Hollow Parkway coming in right now from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. It's pretty crowded on 65 northbound there at Saturn Parkway. All that traffic up from Murray County into that section of Williamson County. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on their menu. Order online, princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Simple banking, simply better. Since 2004, that's been our motto at Cedar Stone Bank. I'm Bob McDonald. We know that financial decisions can sometimes be complicated, but that doesn't mean solutions have to be. Whether you're buying a new home, renovating your existing home, or buying a car, or maybe you're a business that needs to purchase equipment for the building you operate from, we have all the technology that will allow you to do your banking online or on the telephone, or you can come in one of our beautiful branches and see our great people. With locations in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Nashville, Cedar Stone Bank. Simple banking, simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Galen Wilson, Executive Director of Wilson Rides, and I'm excited to invite you to the 3rd Annual Sips and Sounds of September benefiting Wilson Rides. Join us on Friday, September 27th for an unforgettable evening of music, drinks, and musical poetry. It's all for a great cause, helping older adults in Wilson County. Get your tickets now at wilsonridesinc.org or call 615-622-5557. Hope to see you there.
And we continue here on this Wednesday. Mark Hinesley, Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. He is CEO, but we kind of changed that around a little bit to say Chief Encouragement Officer, and that does fit you real well.
Well, thank you. Everybody can use a little encouragement once in a while. So,
but isn't that in a way, and by your definition, I know it is, part of being the head of the chamber to kind of be an encouragement for the whole business community?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, a positive business environment where everybody's successful just makes for a better community. And believe me, I learned from a lot of folks, watched what they did, made plenty of my own mistakes, and do them every day. But it's when you have such an awesome product to sell, you really just go to work and try not to screw anything up, because it's not quite selling itself, but we have a wonderful community, and I have a unique opportunity to see so many people from so many different backgrounds all working together, and they may not even know, but when things are going well and everybody's pulling that wagon in the same direction, it's incredible what can happen. So I'm just happy to have a ride right now. So
do you get through all your notes?
Not even close. Not even close. I chase a rabbit down the hole, and then who knows?
That's why you get here ahead of me. You have from, I don't know what time you get here, but at 30, 45 an hour to just sit here and think, I want to talk about this and this and this and this.
Yeah. When my daughter was young, probably even elementary school, she told me one time, I guess I was probably giving her too much to do at one time, and she said, "Daddy, just stop. I need to get my thinkings in my head." And I've never forgotten that. So I'm getting my thinkings in my head here, but I do appreciate the opportunity once a month to come over and share some things. We have a great luncheon today, as Bob was mentioning. The Nashville Predators are going to be our speaker today. That's sponsored by Breeden's Orchard, which here's another one. I didn't have this on my notes, but Mayor Hutto comes once a month to Mount Juliet, Lebanon, Watertown on the last Wednesday of the month. And either this past month or the one before that, in his remarks, he mentioned that Wilson County is, I want to say, top 2 or 3 with 80 plus or minus farmers agriculture that sell direct to the consumer, which is second or third, I think, best in the entire state of Tennessee. And when I think of that in Mount Juliet, one of the ones at the top is Breeden's Orchard. And if you haven't, let's just say it's not your grandma and grandpa's Breeden's anymore. It is absolutely phenomenal what they're doing out there. And they just had a huge event this past weekend, but it's one of the places, not only can you go get, produce and fruits and things like that, but you can have a good time, and it's so kid-friendly and so pet-friendly. So agritourism, we hear a lot about that, but they're doing phenomenal. Last week, maybe the week before, once a month on the first Friday, we have Your State Connection, where we rotate months between our state senator, Mark Pody, who was there last time, and State Representative Susan Lynn, who will be there this next time. They go back and forth. And thanks to them for making that possible. We don't make any laws. Hopefully we can have an impact on some of the decisions that are made. But they come religiously and take good notes, and we love being able to provide that opportunity for our customers and local businesses, and we couldn't do it without them. This Friday, we have our Leadership by the Book program, which is a kind of a faith-based, safe space to come and talk to other people that are doing business with Christian principles, and you can run a successful business, and you can do it with Christian principles, and that's one of our longest-standing programs, and it's very well attended, and that's open to anybody as well.
You really talk business ethics and that sort of thing?
Absolutely, yep. Lee Campbell and Sam Anderson have been leading that program. It's well over 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and it's kind of an anomaly in the chamber world because too many people don't want to tiptoe into certain things, but that is one that not only do we tiptoe into it, we're all in and proud of it. It's kind of a model to be followed by a lot of others, but I appreciate those folks doing it. That's a once-a-month program. In August, we had 17 new business licenses, which brings us to 149 for the year. Last year at this time, the August had 14, and we were only at 137. So Bob talks about record assets and growth at the bank, even more than 23. Well, we're right there with them. Yeah. So I guess it only makes sense as the community grows that the banks grow, and we really can't have one without the other. Next Tuesday, don't know anything except the weather's going to be 74 degrees with a gentle breeze blowing in out of the west for our golf tournament. Fingers crossed, we need good weather. That's our only fundraiser that we do once a year, and it's September 24th. It was sold out on July the 8th. Oh. So we got it all, and now we're just the waiting game on Mother Nature. So please be good to us, Mother Nature. Something else that's exciting, and there are only 2 cities in the entire United States that will have, hopefully, in maybe, I think it's February, we'll have an astronaut coming back from the moon landing. And so I mentioned something a couple of weeks ago to Tim Bryant, the director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I didn't know exactly what we could do, but I remember a few years ago we had a community countdown or a watch parties and all kinds of stuff for a solar eclipse, if you remember when that was. That was everything. People were planning that for months and months and months. Well, the more I talked to him, he apparently when Barry Wilmore, the astronaut who was up at the space station with no ride home, played football at Mount Juliet High School. There's a big picture of him in the Commons in his astronaut suit. He went to Tech, and anyway, his number on the team was 54. So Tim Bryant said they'd kind of been thinking about something along the lines of bring 54 home. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we got with Daryl Crouch and Everyone's Wilson, and that's somebody that it seems like everything he touches just makes things better. You don't want to have I really don't want to do anything unless Everyone's Wilson's involved in it, but we don't know exactly what it is, but Tim's going to have a kickoff, I think, on October 21st at their banquet, and that they are going to have a video message from Barry in space. And I believe his parents go to Victory Baptist Church, and I believe they had a live phone call and surprised his parents if not this past Sunday, maybe the Sunday before, something like that. So But I can just see that clock ticking down with the whole community kind of looking, okay, it's only 3 more days, 2 more days, So more on that when I come back next month. How's that?
We certainly hope and pray that they have a safe trip home.
It just kind of hit me that when they said the spaceship, his ride home was leaving. Now, maybe it was never going to bring him home. But there's got to be a sinking feeling that no matter what, when you see that thing pull away and you don't have a ride, not too many people are in that spot. So keep your thoughts and prayers with his family. And then next week, I mentioned our golf tournament.
Yeah.
Birthright Title is the sponsor, our title sponsor again. And then the Friday after that is the Sips and Sounds event. That's a big one that goes to Wilson Rides. We'll be doing our Coffee with a Candidate, 15, 20 minutes video interview, if you will, with the candidates in contested races. And then we just post those on our YouTube channel. It's not a debate. Pretty much everybody gets the same question. It's really just I don't know who it is. Well, watch the video and you'll learn a little bit about them. Got other questions that we didn't ask, you need to call them yourself. But Tony Bates Ford we're not getting into the debate thing because we've been down that road.
If you've got other questions,
that's exactly right. How do I know how you ask them, then let me know. Everybody knows that Tony Bates Ford is now out on Hartman Drive and I-40. Is that right?
Yeah. That's Franklin Road.
Franklin Road, excuse me. But Rackley Roofing is consolidating their Murfreesboro plant, Mount Juliet, and where their headquarters is now in Carthage, and going to be moving into that big building. So as one moves out, another one moves in, and it keeps it all here local, whether they have a 122 zip code or a 087 or whatever. So that's a big move, but that's a win for Wilson County. And one of these days we're going to talk about him and they'll sell anything they'll take anything that don't eat. Well, I'm thinking if you want to know where to eat, call the Chambers, because we know the places that do eat. So Grade A Construction down by West Elementary High School, or West Elementary on Lebanon Road, their corporate headquarters is coming along fine. Spaces probably has over 150 offices for rent out at Golden Bear and I-40. And then last Tuesday, we had a groundbreaking on Beckwith Road, and it was the Old Acre McDonald project. That's a big deal. The exciting thing is it should be all built out in 3 years, and they're going to have 140 townhomes, an indoor storage unit, that big bowling alley and game center, 370 residential units, age-restricted community of 170 units, an In-N-Out Burger, and a Hyatt hotel. And that's just phase one, whatever. So Mount Juliet, thankfully, we appreciate it.
That is all within the city limits?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
It sure is. Mount Juliet City Commission passed a resolution 5-0 at a recent meeting agreeing with or supporting the design and the layout for the interior of where the police department is now, that will hopefully in January 2026 be transitioned to the Mount Juliet Senior Center. And they'll go from 3,500 square feet to 14,500 or something like that. So there will be a lot of work yet to be done on that. But also, just real quickly as we close out, some of the new businesses that are coming in one way or another, they're in the pipeline. Nicoletti, which is an Italian restaurant, another Chipotle, that's already vertical. Kiki's by Burger King and Starbucks, those are both already out of the ground. Of course, the Texas Roadhouse, Grace and Mercy, which is getting phenomenal reviews on social media, where the gun range used to be on the southeast corner of Lebanon Road and Bender's Ferry or Golden Bear, is now will soon be a bakery. And I've seen some videos about that. I'm excited about that. And then we had heard that Sprouts was coming. All right, they're coming, but now we know that in the next few weeks they're actually going to have a groundbreaking. So that is that's a good sign. A better sign is when we cut the ribbon and go in and get to shop. So I've never been in a Sprouts, so I can't say I know what it is, but I do know that it's kind of going to attach to where the chamber area is. So I might be able to have another place to go eat lunch without actually getting in my car. I don't know. So anything else I missed, Coleman?
Hey, you're the Mount Juliet man. I learned from you.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot going on. I hope all the local teams do well. I want to always give a shout out to the teams that are going to be playing ball this weekend. But then I heard that on your radio coming in here that I think Tommy Bryan was saying that Lebanon goes to Green Hill. So I'm conflicted on whatever. They can both do well, right? So.
Well, maybe I would hope that each plays the very best they can, and may the best team win. Well, of course, being an LHS graduate, I'm a little prejudiced.
There you go. You can. So, football season where I came from in Indiana was all that really meant to me was thank goodness basketball season is about to start. And I've got friends from Indiana that are sending me notes. Who is this IU football team? I've never been to an IU football game, but they're 3-0. They've scored 150 points in 3 games. The next closest one is Ohio State with 108 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the name of one, but maybe Indiana will be good this year. Who knows? So,
Mark, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Coleman.
Always appreciate your visit, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
Mark Hodgley, Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce, and Part 1 of Coleman and Company. We've got more. Please keep it right here, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford. Get a battery installed on most vehicles. $149.95. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still a little bit sluggish coming down 65 southbound here at Trinity Lane. Looks like a car may have went off the road on 65 south at Concord Road there in the Brentwood, Franklin, or actually between Brentwood and Franklin on 65 southbound in Williamson County. It's cranked up pretty good, 24 westbound coming out of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County into Davidson County. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken has 2 items on the menu, princeshotchicken.com. Check them out today. Order online. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is in a new location, 1746 West Main in Lebanon, across from Sports Village. Gregory Dental Group offers cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs.
No insurance? No problem. Call about the discount plan. Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322.
The weather looks mostly sunny for today. Highs in the lower 80s. Partly cloudy tonight with some patchy fog. Lows will be in the lower 60s. And then sunny again on Thursday. Highs in the upper 80s. This weather forecast brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. With your Severe View forecast, I'm Storm Specialist Drew Richards.
Welcome to Part 2 of Coleman and Company here on a Wednesday morning. It's time for us to welcome John Langford with Edward Jones. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. And this morning, as I was driving in, I was listening to CNBC, and they were talking about the interest rates. Yeah. And today, the Fed should more than likely cut interest rates. It's just a question of whether it's 25 basis points or 50. And for some people, that is long overdue if you're in the real estate industry because there seems to be some people that have been holding off for that because of the high interest rates compared to what we've had. But comparatively speaking, how high was the interest rate whenever you bought your first house?
Oh, 7.5.
7.5. My parents built their first house in the 70s, and they were lucky. And they got an 8.5% mortgage at that time. Mm-hmm. And you look over time and you see how we really were in historical times a couple of years ago when we were in those 2 and 3% mortgage rates. And putting it in perspective, you have to realize that yes, we are going to start to have better interest rates compared to what they've been over the last couple months, but historically speaking, it's still not a high interest rate. And that is one of the things that we have to look at whenever we're investing over time is you have to look at history, because history doesn't always repeat itself, but as a philosopher once said, it often rhymes inside of there. And being able to have that historical perspective on things and looking at what the market is doing, you've seen times like this before. And the last time we were in this type of environment was back in the early 80s, after the inflation that had increased in the late 70s, and then coming back when Reagan took office, and then the Treasury Department started cutting rates. The 1980s in the stock market world, from 81 to about 87, the stock market roared. Now, we're not going to go out there and say that it's going to do that again, but historically speaking, inside of there, interest rates and the stock market have an inverted correlation to it. When one goes up, the other one goes down, usually. And we noticed that back in 2022 when interest rates spiked. The stock market didn't have a great year that year. What we have done is, and they've talked about this throughout the last year or so, is that we have actually found a way to navigate to this point, going through a higher interest rate environment while the economy still continues to flourish. And we've noticed that even right here in Lebanon, as we see historical growth through the population and then also through business as well. Right now, our biggest problem is that we can't find enough employees at most businesses versus what we found in a recession or something along those lines. Usually you have higher unemployment and people looking for work. Right now, it's people looking for the right job because they have choices inside of there. So as we were talking before we got on the air, right now the economy looks pretty good from that perspective. And also from Edward Jones' perspective, what we're trying to do with our clients is you cannot predict what the market will do in the future. You have a lot of information and a lot of education that we can provide, but truth be told, the New York Stock Exchange doesn't call me in the morning beforehand and say, "Hey, John, today's going to be a good day." I wish they did. But what we've done is we've tried to start doing monthly and periodic investment inside of there, so that way you don't have to time the market. As Warren Buffett said, it's time in the market. And being able to look at these markets, because if you've been investing for a while, you're going to have an up market, a down market, an in-between market. But if you invest throughout that time, you don't have to worry about what tomorrow's going to bring. You know it's going to be all right.
Well, you are certainly available to help people as a financial advisor, and located right here in Lebanon at 1424 West Padua Parkway, Suite C. People can find you.
Yes, sir.
And they do.
Well, they do, and it helps out that we have right now. I have clients in I think it's 18 different states, and this afternoon I'll get to go and eat lunch with a client over in Hendersonville. Going to go see some clients in Sumner County on my way back to Lebanon, and being able to get out and go out and see those clients and break bread with them and being able to talk to them face to face, it really means a lot to investors. Nothing big. I'm just in charge of retirement and life savings, right?
Yeah, it can be pretty big. Being a little facetious, but you can always set up an appointment. You can get more information. John Langford's as close as your telephone, 615-443-2090.
Yes, sir. I hope you have a good week, and Mayor, always good to see you.
All right. Well, thank you, John Langford. We'll do it again next week. John Langford, Edward D. Jones. Or I should say Edward Jones. We're leaving off the D now. All right. We're 21 and a half before the hour. Mayor Rick Bell is here. And, Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
I guess you'd like to start off today like we did with the mayor of Watertown yesterday, talking about Rocky Top.
So what happened to Vanderbilt last week?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it told me they might not have much pass defense.
Is that what it is?
Well, they came from behind. They were trailing 12-10 at halftime, and they were behind more than a touchdown as time was running out. Managed to score twice and go ahead, and 1:34 left in the game. You think, well, they have pulled this one out. They're going to be 3-0. Wrong. It was a long pass play for a touchdown, and they lost. But it was from a spectator's point, and I didn't get to see this. I was just kind of keeping up with it on my cell phone. But from spectators, it was a good ball game when you have one where the lead changes a time or two, and it's an exciting finish. I mean, it just didn't go the way I'd like for it to.
Well, Tennessee fans know how it feels to lose Georgia State. That happened several years ago to us, so we know the feeling.
That. Yeah, that's what Mike was talking about. I didn't catch it. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, you may really be loaded this year. If Mike if Mike is talking very positive, you probably got a
you're
really
in pretty good
team.
shape, right? Well, as I've told you before, I take it game to game, and this week is a big game, so we'll see how they do.
Yeah, and as I was telling him yesterday, Vanderbilt's gonna have to play Texas, and they're rated a little bit higher than Oklahoma, but you play one or the other. And I didn't know that till he told me yesterday. But Tennessee gets to play Oklahoma. Vanderbilt gets to play Texas a little bit later on. And I think Texas is number one slot, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They're ranked number one now.
Yeah. Well, you'll probably then this one I believe is Saturday night.
It's Saturday night. It's in Oklahoma. I went out there a few years ago, the last time we played there, but I'm not going to make it this time. But I'll definitely be at my dad's house watching it.
And he's big orange through and through as well as you.
Absolutely,
yeah.
He's the one who brainwashed me.
Yeah. I wouldn't go so far to say that. I'm not going to be negative towards. I mean, after all, you are the state university. What's happening in the city of Lebanon?
Well, last night we had a council meeting, and I'll tell you, Coleman, it was the shortest agenda we've had since I've been mayor. We had 8 items on the agenda, so we were not there very long. But there were a couple of things I think that are important to tell people about, and both of them involve police vehicles, actually. We had 2 ordinances on first reading, and one was we got a grant to buy 2 new vehicles, and that was approved a while back. And so now that it's time to buy the vehicles, their costs a little more than they did then. So the city council voted to add some money to that grant to complete the purchase of those 2 vehicles. So that was on first reading last night. So there'll be a second reading here in a couple of weeks. And then also back in January, the council voted to purchase 10 replacement vehicles, and they're here now, and they have to be equipped. So last night on first reading, the city council voted to equip those vehicles. It cost quite a bit. It was over $300,000, but that all comes from court fees. Court fees that are collected by the police department can only be used for vehicles or equipment for vehicles, and so that's where that money comes from. So those 2 things were voted on last night at first reading, and those are really of the 8 items. Those are the ones that people will see out there on the street. Those are the ones that really affect the public. The rest of the agenda was really more internal, moving some money around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was not aware of this. The court fees. Do you keep a good surplus there?
Yeah. And Mike Justice has all the details on that, and of course that's part of his budget. But we have court all the time. And fees keep coming in, and they don't spend it all the time. They collect it and build up a good amount before they start using it for things. But that is money that's available to the police department to use.
But it is exclusively for the police department.
It is.
Is it even designated even further, or just anything that would be the police department?
It's just them.
Okay.
It goes to them into their department. So it's money they can use. And again, this is for equipment, for vehicles, for it's a variety of things they need out there, but it does stay within their world.
Well, obviously, if when you get a new car, it's you don't just buy a new police car. You buy a new car that's going to be made into a.
That's right. That's right. And it's really amazing to see that process, and and they pick out sort of what they want too, and it's. But it's needed. They have to have lights. They have to have computers inside. It has to be built out because it's a special vehicle, and so that's what they voted on last night.
But I don't know how much would pertain to safety here. But I mean, I guess you just say you have to have a fully equipped police car, and it does cost some extra money.
It does.
All right. Well, we're about time for a break. Mayor Rick Bell is with us here, and we before we change the subject, we'll just take a break, and we'll talk about something else in a moment here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. Ride it off the lot. Write it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. We're over here looking at this traffic flow live. It's just slow on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. We've had a couple of mishaps in this area earlier. It slowed it down. It's loading up pretty good now with more volume. 24 westbound up through the Antioch area coming in right now from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. Nash Painting, a non-franchise painting company, mentioned this ad. Get a 10% discount. Call Nash Painting today, 912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture, so you can work toward meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, John Langford, your Lebanon Edward Jones financial advisor at 1424 West Bedore Parkway. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane & Crowell. At the offices of Kane & Crowell, our team of experienced attorneys is here to guide you through every step of the process. With a proven track record of success and a commitment to our clients and our community, look no further than the team at Kane & Crowell to fight for your rights and provide representation you deserve. 615-784-4800.
Thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday. Mayor Rick Bell is with us. He comes out after the city council meeting. Well, actually, we pretty much, most of your council meetings are just, they're going to be, unless the calendar, like Labor Day or something like that changes it. You're gonna have them. And so you come here the next day on the second half, and it's just kind of set in stone or whatever.
It does.
But really, really good to have you twice a month and find out really about city government and other things, of course. And of course, you are running for re-election. We've got a mayor's race coming up. We're not supposed to talk about that here.
Yeah, we won't talk about
city stuff here this morning. But short meeting last night.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to mention?
Well, there is actually, since you mentioned meetings. We did put it in front of the council last night to cancel the November 5th meeting. November 5th is election day, since you mentioned election. Obviously, that's presidential election. Mm-hmm. It's the mayor's election. There are 3 city council seats up that day as well. And historically, the city has not held a meeting on that night. But it does take council action to do that. So last night was first reading to cancel the November 5th meeting. I'll still be here on the 6th, but we will not have a meeting that night. And
well, you can help me redo election.
That's right. We can do election coverage, and I'm sure I have some other things to talk about. But again, that's something that's been done historically, and that's a big night. that a lot of people will want to be watching TV and things like that. So we will cancel that meeting.
Well, let me ask this, since you mentioned second reading, and we've probably got plenty of time this morning. Some things require a second reading.
They do.
Everything doesn't. But what is that part of the city charter? Is it just certain things come under a second reading heading, or how's that?
So
work?
typically the way it works is an ordinance takes 2 readings.
Okay.
A resolution takes 1. So that's the difference as far as the naming of them. Now, typically, what takes 2 readings is when money is going to be spent, and that's mostly what the 2 reading ordinances are. Also, any kind of a rezone or a annexation or something like that takes 2 readings as well. And so. So I guess I like to say the important things take 2 readings, or the more important things. Resolutions are typically something that, let's say that a department wants to apply for a grant, and they're just getting permission to do that. Something that you need to go ahead and get done. But mostly the 2 readings are money, rezones, annexations, anything that's official like that. This cancellation of a council meeting is taking 2 readings because that does affect public business. But there is a difference. Most everything we do takes 2 readings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you answered that well. What's next?
Well, there are a couple of things I want to talk about that I'm pretty proud of, and one of them is that we announced last week that the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center received a $100,000 grant. So I want to thank Heather Gallagher for that, the director there. She worked hard on that. This is a technology grant, which will help the center in a multitude of ways. One, it'll help the office staff with some of the things they do, but also it's going to allow them to buy some new AV equipment for their microphones, for videos, for announcements, and when they talk into a microphone to the group, it's going to help out with that. A lot of new equipment. Heather told me even there's you may like this, Coleman. There's that part of the equipment is that they can feed the sound right straight into your hearing aid. So that's something that might be popular too. But
it would probably help me if it yeah. I'll subscribe to that.
So you can even hear him doing announcements in the big room while you're playing cornhole in another room or playing pool back there somewhere. See.
Well, to be honest, sometimes I have a little difficulty hearing the announcement when I'm sitting at the dining.
Well, this new technology should help. So, and also it's going to help too with the people who take meals to homebound, help them with their routes and things like that. So it's just a multitude of ways it's going to improve things at the senior center, and $100,000 is great. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Well, it is, but then again, technology equipment and that sort of thing is not cheap. So I don't know how far it'll go, but it's certainly a welcome addition.
Well, and also it'll allow her to put some computers in there that members can use as well. So it's a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It is expensive, but $100,000 that's a big grant, right. And so we're proud to get it, and I'm proud of Heather for going out there and getting that. Even the Tennessee Department of Aging came out and did a video in the senior center and interviewed the Hieronymuses and did some filming in there about this grant, because that's where we got it from. And so the department is so proud of it that they came up here and actually talked to us about it. So that's a good thing. And also
that wouldn't have been them back in the pool room the other day, would it?
That was them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, did they catch you on there?
I'm not sure.
We need to go watch the video. It's on YouTube, so you need to go check it out.
All right.
Well, if they filmed you, I hope you made your shot.
Well, thank you.
And then yesterday in Nashville, the Power of 10 conference was held, and this is something that's held every year. That's the 10 counties in the Nashville area, and people from all 10 counties get together to talk, and that's put on by Coleman Region Tomorrow, which is an organization that has a committee. I used to be on it, of citizens. You cannot be an elected official and be on this committee. And they put this together. And so yesterday the topic was regional transportation. And we talk about traffic a lot here in Lebanon, but it's a regional thing as well. Today is when I leave here. I'm going to Nashville for the monthly Mayor's Caucus, and I can tell you, Coleman, that the issues we face here in Lebanon, every city faces them, and we all talk about it. But yesterday was a conference to talk about that, talk about the future, how as a region we can improve things, and I was honored to be on one of the panels. I served on a panel with Mayor Ken Moore of Franklin and Commissioner Butch Ely, who's the commissioner of TDOT, to talk about. Mayor Moore and I talked about from a local perspective. Commissioner Ely talked about from the state perspective and the TDOT perspective, and so there's a real honor to be there. There's a lot of people there, and it's always good to get together and really talk about the region as a whole. Obviously, my focus is local, what's happening in Lebanon, but the entire region is in this together, and there are a lot of people here who drive in Nashville to work every day, and we have to help them out too, and so that's what that was about. So
and we do have a train that others don't have that probably enters the conversation.
In fact, Mayor Moore told me the other day that one of his constituents wants them to steal the train from us, and I told him he couldn't have it. But that is important. It really is, because I promise you that Franklin and Murfreesboro and even Clarksville, they'd love to have that train, and we have it, and it is a big help. And one of the things I talked about is that, a lot of people don't realize is that, Highway 109 is a regional corridor. It goes from Portland, Tennessee down to here to 840. And one of the things that we're finding is that people from Gallatin, instead of going to Nashville on 65, they're driving down 109 to go in on 40. And now it's getting to where people from Murfreesboro are coming up 840 to 109 to go to Nashville as well. So this regional aspect is a big deal to us, because people are coming into our town to get to Nashville. And so, as I told them yesterday, now while they're here, I'd love for them to stop and buy something. But they are coming here, and there has to be a better way than that. There has to be better for people from those cities to get to Nashville other than coming here. And so, fixing the regional system will help us too, because it'll help us in that area. But it'll help our citizens. How
are we going to fix it?
Well, that's a good question, and it really. I think what really came out of there yesterday was it really has to start with the heart of this, which is Nashville. Nashville is the big city. When you talk about region, that's what dominates this region. That's why people are moving here, and so I really believe the thought coming out of the conference yesterday, and really this is a thought that we talk about every month, is that Nashville needs to figure themselves out, and that'll help all of us.
Well, I'm wondering, and I forget what they call them. There's a name for this, but where they're going to have a separate lane on the interstate.
Yeah, it's called a choice lane.
Yeah.
And
did that come in the conversation?
It did, and Commissioner Ely, he talked about that yesterday, and they're going to start that on the 24 corridor coming from Murfreesboro, because according to everyone, that's the worst one getting into Nashville. And the choice lane is something you see in other states. It's in Florida and Texas, and it's in every state that surrounds us, I think. But really, where there's a lane there, where if somebody who's driving a car in Nashville every day, if they choose to pay to get in that lane, they can. Mm-hmm. And that's really what that's about.
So. Well, I can see how that might help. I mean, if you had some people that felt they could afford and willing to afford that, and the benefits that goes with it, but then the other people would benefit by not having them in the regular line of traffic.
Yeah. It does. I mean, it's got to help, and it's proven to work other places. So there was a big event. A lot of people were there, and again, I was honored to represent Lebanon and be able to be part of that.
Well, they do know we're on the map.
They do. They know we exist, and that we are a big part of this region as well. And but again, it's really good for all the mayors to get together and discuss these things.
Maybe good will come from that. I'm sure it will in some form. What else? We got about a minute and a half.
Okay, well, a couple of things I do want to announce. Yesterday, I did go down to the Fight Pheasant House for a ceremony with the daughters of the American Revolution and the sons of the American Revolution for Constitution Week. Yesterday was the anniversary of the ratification of the Constitution, and they always have a ceremony, and I always give them a proclamation, and we ring the bell in honor of the Constitution. So
1789.
It's way back then, and obviously the Constitution is the basis of our government, and it's important, and it's always important to remember it, and remember the people who did it. And then also, I'm excited to announce that this Saturday at the Coleman University football game, they are honoring Lebanon City employees. So city employees are invited to come out and tailgate, come to the game, be recognized at halftime, and I really appreciate Cumberland recognizing the hard work that our employees do throughout the city and having a day for them. And so if you come to the Cumberland game, you see a city employee, talk to them, but we'll be there.
All right. Will that pretty much do it for this morning?
I think that's got it.
All right. Well, you didn't have a big, long meeting last night, but we had plenty to talk about anyway. Seems like we always do.
We always do.
Well, Mayor, thanks a lot. This takes care of September, so your next visit will be in October.
It will be. I'll be here in October, and there'll be a few more football games under our belt by then, too.
Well, maybe you may keep on winning. The way it's going, it kind of looks that way.
I hope so.
Mayor Rick Bell, and that is part 2 of Coleman and Company, and does it for a Wednesday. And until tomorrow, I wish you a wonderful day.